We live in a digital age. Books, money, music, the gosh dang game of life, social media in its many forms and facets, journaling, complaining, heck even dating. In the summer away from college, you know how I keep in touch with my friends? Freaking Fortnite. Running around on a wild hog as a lightsaber-wielding two-time Olympic gold medalist Chloe Kim. The modern world presents us with plethoras upon plethoras of ways to express ourselves, to share our truth with the world, and ultimately explore the human condition. And yet, despite this incredible sandbox of possibilities, we as a society unceasingly fail to fully realize its potential. We instead use it to paint dishonest pictures of ourselves, to spread hatred and bigotry, and most notably, to escape the reality of our increasingly depressing world. Because in the digital realm, we can be whoever we want, do whatever we want. Its anonymity grants us the freedom to act without consequence, to pursue our secret shames and passion projects alike without the judgments of those around us. And therein lies the incredible power of an avatar, an alternate version of you. Belle is one of the most unique movies I have ever seen. Released back in 2021 by Studio Chizu, it received high praise from critics and fans alike, most notably a 14-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival. It's far from a perfect movie, I'll admit, but even so, the way Belle illustrates its core message is nothing short of spectacular. The story revolves around Suzu, a 17-year-old Japanese schoolgirl, because of course she is. This is anime, what did you expect? At first glance, she seems like your average introvert, not the prettiest and all that popular, and quite emotionally distant from her peers. She's just sort of there, hanging with her one friend who's kind of a jerk sometimes, crushing on a dude she doesn't feel she deserves. We've all been there, right? But there's more to her story. A lot more. Suzu loves music, singing especially. It's perhaps her greatest gift in life, one she'd like to be her passion. When she was little, her mom introduced her to music, and the two really bonded over it. They played together and sang together, everything Suzu knows coming directly from her mother. But one day, tragedy struck. As the nearby river flooded, some poor child found herself at the water's mercy, and Suzu's mother, the selfless woman she was, rescued the kid, forfeiting her life in exchange for the child's, abandoning her own in the process. Again, this is anime. Moms die quite a bit here. Suzu, still but a child, failed to understand why her mother would do such a thing, why she would trade her life, her motherhood, and their shared passion for music, all for a complete stranger, a kid who played no role in their lives whatsoever. This confusion soon grew into resentment, as Suzu was forced to grow up without her mother, without someone with whom to share her passion. This trauma has become so severe that even just trying to sing causes her to throw up. Naturally, she's pushed herself away from others, closing herself off from everyone save her somewhat mean bestie. Even her own father she keeps at arm's length, despite his best efforts to reconnect with her. So that's Suzu, a name meaning Belle, describing a girl whose heart cannot ring, at least not in the physical world. Upon joining the Genshin Impact-looking, weeb-inducing VR social media platform called You, she discovers that here, personified not as herself, but as an avatar resembling the pretty girls, she can sing. With the voice of an angel, I might add. When she separates herself, her flaws and traumas from her passion, Suzu discovers her near limitless potential, quickly becoming the worldwide phenomenon Belle. The movie explains this sudden change in Suzu by saying that the tech behind You has the ability to accentuate your strengths and compensate for your weaknesses. Kinda insane, but this is exactly what online anonymity does. It lets you show your best and hide your worst. So Belle quickly becomes the platform's most popular user, releasing new songs, performing them in spectacular fashion, and even dropping these bangers on Spotify. This is real. I listened to a few of these myself. But my point is that Suzu, or Belle, is at the top of her game, now performing at her biggest concert yet. The music, as always, is great, but then, in classic streaker fashion, there's an intrusion. The dragon. Now this is where things get a little crazy. The dragon, or the beast as he's also called, is a fighter. He fights so hard, in fact, that the platform cannot handle his strength, so oftentimes his attacks actually corrupt the data around him. They never show this, and they never explain why one mischievous user is an issue warranting worldwide attention. What's really dumb is that they don't just ban him. But anyways, the dragon has a bunch of bruises on his avatar, implying that he's covered in bruises in real life. Suzu immediately takes note of this, still reeling from her own inner trauma, and resolves to help him work through his pain. So Suzu and her bestie get to work trying to uncover the dragon's identity. As they search, they interview many different suspects, all of whom they realize are working through their own issues, their own flaws, their own scars from the past. But none of them are the user in question, so the search continues. As time goes on, Belle, through Suzu, does gradually befriend the dragon, beginning the film's homage to Beauty and the Beast. But Suzu's real struggles are not in you. Back in reality, she's conflicted. She really likes this dude named Shinobu, a kind-hearted guy who's looked out for her ever since her mom died. But at the same time, she doesn't feel she deserves him. She doesn't think he should waste his time with someone as flawed, bland, and lowly as her. Many times, Suzu nearly works up the courage to tell him how she feels, but each time the attempt falls flat on its face as she chickens out at the last second. Instead, she tells him to stop bothering to talk to her. She's created this bubble for herself, one through which she can only view the outside world. She can want, she can dream, but she can never fulfill these wishes. She just can't bring herself to pop the bubble that separates her from the rest of the world. The trauma is just too great, especially now as she's grown painfully accustomed to it for years. So instead of telling Shinobu she likes him, Suzu tries to help the pretty girl get with him instead. Naturally, that's gotta hurt. And it's pains like these that propel people like Suzu, the dragon, and countless others online to a place where they can vent their frustrations and focus on better things. On music, on strength, on friendships and new connections. This is escapism at its finest. The dragon's real-world bruises and Suzu's emotional trauma propel the two together as a genuine bond forms, culminating in this gorgeous scene in which they quite literally become Disney's Beauty and the Beast. But this story is far from over, and trust me, it's anything but a romance. For Belle's love, platonic or otherwise, can never free the beast from his curse. The dragon's bruises are all too real, and their connection far from it. Neither of them can truly understand the other. They merely see what they themselves make visible. Belle doesn't know what causes the dragon's bruises, nor does he understand what's driving her to help him. They only know each other's avatars. The Reddit moderators want to change that, though. As the movie progresses, they get closer and closer to catching the dragon, but thankfully a desperate Suzu beats them to the punch. What she finds, though, is rather sickening. The dragon is just a kid. Even younger than Suzu, in fact. He's from Japan, much like her, but unlike Suzu, he has a sibling, a little brother. And these two brothers have a father, an abusive father, who yells at them, berates them, and beats them. Their whole lives, nobody has bothered to step in on their behalf. Some have spoken to their father, sure, but none have really, genuinely helped Kei and his little brother Tomo. So Kei has to step up and take the brunt of his father's abuse in an attempt to shield Tomo from their father's wrath. The dragon's bruises represent those he's received from his father, and his brute strength is born from his desire to protect and inspire his brother. That's all he can do. That's all he thinks anyone can do. And rightfully so. But Suzu wants to do more, needs to do more. These poor children abused by their father and neglected by society have no one else to turn to. But why would they put their faith in Belle? An avatar, an exaggeration of greatness and a compensation for weakness. Why would they trust someone they can't even know? Would you? Who they need isn't virtual or digital or whatever other word you want to use to describe it. Who they need is someone real, someone genuine. Who they need isn't Belle, it's Suzu. And to trust her, they need to know that the two are one and the same. To win their trust, to show them that she is indeed Belle and to help them face their trauma head on, she must first confront her own. She must sing. Not as Belle, hiding from others, muffled by a giant quilt, but as herself, in front of her friends, her choir, and her crush, in front of the whole world. Suzu's first audience since the death of her mother. In one of the greatest scenes I've ever had the pleasure of discussing on this channel, Suzu strips herself of her avatar, revealing her secret to the world. She's deathly afraid the whole time, sure, but she keeps going. She faces her fears and sings. And it's not just any song either. It's when she wrote about her mother, about her feelings of being inadequate, of not deserving life outside of her bubble. And as she sings with the angelic voice gifted to her undoubtedly by her mother, the source of this passion, the origin of her skill, she has at long last an epiphany. She realizes why her mother did what she did. That poor child in the river was all but lost. Her parents had failed her and society had abandoned her. If Suzu's mom hadn't risked her own well-being, sacrificed her own life for the child's, no one would have. Just as no one but Suzu is willing to save these boys now. As this emotional breakthrough continues, so too does the song. And as she sings, Suzu quite literally bares her soul to the world, expressing in the simplest yet most profound way exactly how she feels. God, I wish I could play this song for you. I still cannot believe how incredible this moment is. A genuine, authentic act in a world that is anything but. One that convinces the brothers to accept her help, that moves the whole world to tears, that allows Suzu to open up to her father, her crush, and the world around her, and that inspired me to make this video. As the internet grows and grows, authenticity within it becomes rarer and rarer. We all hide behind our keyboards, our avatars, wasting the limitless potential before us by choosing instead to escape the world we live in. The world around us is filled with vile men and women who prey on the helpless, yes. There are millions, if not billions, of people struggling to overcome the traumas they carry, sure. But each of us have the potential to do something about it. Maybe you don't think you're good enough to help. Maybe you think the baggage you carry prevents you from helping other people with theirs. But believe me, there are people who have things far worse than you and I. And you are far more capable than you believe. So let's embrace this responsibility to others. Let's shoulder this opportunity to make a difference, no matter how small. Not through a facade, a character, or an avatar, but through authenticity, by bringing reality into this digital age. That's my goal with this channel, and I challenge you to make it yours as well. Thanks for watching.